Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. We're here, man. Time has come for the 25-26 season to get underway. It's been a minute since I've done a live stream. I think the last one I did was my player ratings, post-season player ratings live stream to go together with you guys and rate what was last season's traumatic. Let's not lie, it was a traumatic ending to the season last year. But we go again. New coach, pretty much the same team, but some new faces, younger team. Maybe some changes in the directors. Piero Ausilio off to Saudi Arabia with Inzaghi. Let's see what happens. But anyway, we'll get into all of that. And obviously, the main thing we're doing today is Inter versus Torino preview. But we'll talk about many things. Of course, you guys lead the chat from the chat, and I always appreciate every single one of you. But I have a little bit of an announcement in terms of match previews. I've thought about it, and I'm thinking to do match previews members only from the start of the season, just because I don't do much for members. There's about 30 members that I have on this channel who basically support the channel for like basically hardly any content, make some Q&As and stuff like that here and there, but really they don't really get rewarded properly. So my thinking is match previews, I might do them just members only, just for the to reward channel members finally properly this season. But then post match and everything, all the other videos continue as normal. We'll see. It's a decision that I thought about. I might change it, but that's my little announcement. But let's get into it, and let me see who is in the chat, who is in the house. Tambir, of course, he is always in the house, always supporting the channel. Hope you're doing well, brother. Tejan Bukake, halftime brace. Apparently, it's a hat trick. I just saw it just before I went live. Buchanan has scored a hat trick in La Liga for Villarreal. We still own a 20% resale, I think, on him. Resale value, resale clause. So, hope he can keep doing that. Of course, he just needed the move away from Inter. It just didn't work out. I said Serie just isn't for him. But La Liga, I think it's a good league for him, and I'm happy for him, man. Mr. Jesus. ¿Cómo estás, amigo? Robot Review Tech, what's up, brother? Thank you for supporting the channel. I've seen you commenting recently. Who he himself has a very big channel. I think he has like over 100k subscribers. So appreciate the support, my man. Joshua Babaji from India. No, about Babaji, which is like a way of saying guru, I guess, in India. But yeah, what's up, Josh? Mateo, we are back. Yes, sir. Emmanuel Spiteri, good evening. Let's support Chivu 100%. Casket season, or caschetto season. Sorry, not casket in English. Casket is the coffin, isn't it? Caschetto in Italian is the helmet season. That's what I meant to say. But helmets, helmets also got the other meanings. Well, we need to find a name for like a nickname. We had Limone, Demone for Inzaghi. We need to find good nicknames for Christian Chivu in this season, so you guys help me out with that. And I'll try. And I need to update the merch as well. I know when you look at underneath my the channel, when it shows you the merch that is available, there's still the Inzaghi Limone ball. I need to get rid of that and update it with something new, something fresh for the new coming season. But yeah, we'll get to that. Ian Kerr, my brother, thank you very much for your update this morning. We'll talk about the Curva situation as well. Actually, whilst I bring you up, and you've got your wife, your lovely wife here as well, Debbie Kerr. Quick update as per Ian Kerr, and I think most people have heard the reports coming out of Italy and the Curva Nord. It's not official, but it seems like, because Chivu kind of seemed like he confirmed it today, that let me actually see, get Ian's exact message up. So here it is. So the board, as in the Curva, has decided, so the heads of the Curva Nord have decided on Monday, so tomorrow, the Curva will be present in the stands, but 5 minutes after the opening whistle, they will leave and gather in front of the small bar in front of the stadium. And this will continue for the entire season. So if you don't know what's this relating to, is Inter, the new ownership, basically are trying to get rid of the Curva, the ultras, much like Juve, much like Milan. this new corporate way of doing things, distancing themselves from ultras. And it's going to affect the atmosphere. If you didn't watch Milan the other day or yesterday, which, by the way, lovely start to the season, Allegri. 2-1 loss to Cremonese. Bonazzoli, my youth player, my Interista, lovely, one of the goal of the season candidates already. But the atmosphere already yesterday, you could tell the difference with the Milan. The Milan Curva is doing a similar thing, and it looks like Inter's Curva will follow along. So the atmosphere, if you feel like it feels flat, the atmosphere is not just, you know why. It's not Interisti being quiet, it's because the Curva is missing, because they are a big part of the noise and the atmosphere that's created in the crowd. Wherever your feelings and thoughts might be of the ultras, they are the ones that generate the crowd and the atmosphere. And it's one of the key selling points of Serie A is also, if we're losing this as well, on top we already have crappy stadiums, old stadiums that are about to like fall on their foundations, and we have awful camera angles, bad marketing, got no money. Now one of the main selling points, the hot atmosphere, the curvas, the ultras, with their controversies and things as well, but one of the main selling points as well that remained, that's also now being driven out of the Italian football. So what's going to be left? What is going to be left, guys, at the end of this? That'll be there. What happened to TJ? He's just, in a team where he's playing not as a wing back, as a proper winger, in a league that I think suits him better, and playing with confidence in that team. He's much of a Romain man, whereas at Inter, Inzaghi didn't clearly rate him, and he just didn't have especially the bad leg injury he had, he just couldn't really recover. Victor's hype for the new season now. Condition and neighbors still stink, and Como is going to be trouble this year. Yeah, Como, my goodness, I was watching the game. Nico Paz. Forget Lukman, man. Nico Paz is the big regret, I think, this summer for Inter, which is not really a regret, but because apparently Como won like 70 million for him, so it's not really like, seems like he was realistic in the end. The 30-40 million rumors were off the mark, because Como, they're super rich, the richest team in Italy, and they don't need to sell. And also the Real Madrid are involved in the whole thing. But if there's a regret, the Nico Paz for the next, decade or so, that's looking like the, creme de la creme player out of Argentina at the moment. Joshua, I watched Camarda yesterday. He looked like the worst striker of all time. Hopefully, same thing will happen to his PS Positive. Yeah, I mean, I talked about with Camarda, it's a difficult situation. Like, at the same time, you want the young Italian striker to be starting, but at the same time, this is why players are eased into. Sometimes we say like, oh, Italian mentality, but sometimes a player needs to be kind of eased in. And because Kristovic got sold by Lecce, Kamada's now just being thrown into Serie A at 17 years of age against adults and proper defenses, proper defenders. It's hard. It's not easy. But he needs time. He just needs time. Not everyone's a Yamal. That's why there's so much hype when someone like Yamal comes along. He could just game 1, minute 1, he's skinning players, not making people. Or Pio Esposito, who comes in the Club World Cup, a few minutes in, he scores a debut goal. Not everyone is built the same. But let's see how he cooks. Paki, my brother, thank you very much for coming through. And Paki is also, I know it says he's a new member here, but I'm sure he's been a member many different times throughout the years. So thank you very much for the support, Paki. And as I said, if you are not aware, and this is not to try to drive more channel members, this is just to reward people that are channel members. My decision for this upcoming season is to do the match previews. So not live streams, as in just normal recorded videos. They will be members only, just to finally have something regular that rewards channel members, because otherwise they've just been supporting this channel for a few videos here and there. And of course the giveaways I do those channel member giveaways once a year as well. But apart from that, they weren't really I wasn't really doing much. Then Nerazzurri, good to see you, brother. Good to see you too. Hope you're looking forward to the season. Totally fair about the match previews. My broadcaster doesn't deserve all discount. Love you, bro. Yeah, no worries. I think in the end of the day, and it's not like I provide too much in-depth content really for a match preview. It's more me reacting to the predicted lineups and just, building up to the game really. So I don't think that's why I've decided for the previews to be the ones members only rather than post match, which is obviously where we go a lot more in depth and have a live stream. Hey Ahmad, hope you're doing well. He was messaging me, he was asking, where is the match preview, bro? Where is it? And I said, I'm out, but later on tonight I will be back home. So thank you, Ahmad, for coming through. At a bar, enjoying some nice beer before the start of Serie A. Yes, for us Interisti, Serie A hasn't started yet. It starts tomorrow officially, right? This is just what we've been watching last couple of days, is just a warm up. Just dropping by to say it will be a 2-0 win with Sucic scoring. I like it. The boy will put on an epic Broza level performance. Your words, brother. I hope your words are coming true tomorrow. Diouf and Sucic will cook tomorrow. I don't think we're going to see Diouf, to be honest. Maybe for a few minutes, if that. Sun Tzu, what's up, brother? Oh yes, of course, Kim Min Jae would be fantastic. Forza Inter, Bonanzoli, goated, of course. Yeah, don't worry, we'll get into the predictions later on. What do the ultras think this will bring them? Hey, man, this is a silent. There's a lot of other ways, John, that these ultras could be, protesting. This is a very silent, literally a silent way of them protesting against the club. So yeah, it's probably, ultimately, why would the club really care if the stadium is quiet and these guys walk out? But they got to make their feelings and their opinions known somehow, and this is the way of doing it. I'm not, again, there's way worse ways of them doing it. They could be, kicking up a fuss, trying to storm HQ, or causing troubles. Ian Kerr was saying that he was, willing to go to more less peaceful means, let's say, to deal with the situation. But this is a very peaceful way of trying to deal with the situation, and I can respect that. I can really respect that way. Although I hope it doesn't affect the team, because that you could say that them walking out could affect the stadium atmosphere and therefore affect the team. Yeah, it's crazy. The TJ Buchanan hat-trick. Greetings from Croatia. Skopax says, hope the season will perform like the one before and a bit more, for nicknaming Chivu the Helmet Vampire. Okay, I like that one. I'll keep that in the list, the Helmet Vampire. Oh yeah, Vampire, because the whole Dracula thing, right? Yeah. Transylvania. Yeah. Interesting. That's got some legs, I think. That's got some legs. Sarah News, the Curva, the 12th man. Yeah, Noor, hope you're doing well, brother. Marcello is not happy till we sign proper players for the season. Yeah, I mean, how many days have we got left? We are on August 24th. So we have about 1 week. Yeah, basically exactly 1 week and a little bit more to pull off more signings. Honestly, I don't think we're going to do anything now, and that is not good. Yeah, I'm not happy either. They're talking about the centre back, but I'm hearing young players, young centre backs. I'm hearing not Palacios level, but I'm hearing like guys that are just going to be backups to Bastoni by the sounds of it, which is not what we need. We need guys that are coming in to take over, challenge Acerbi and De Vrij. But it looks like they're going to move. Carlos Augusto is kind of a permanent left wing back. Still obviously an option, left centre back, but it seems like they want to bring in another left centre back, left-footed centre back to back up Bastoni. But aside from that, it doesn't look like they're going to do much, which, as I said, I'm not happy about. Mohammed, hey, fun baby club of deep. Oh, yeah, I should have ignored that one. But welcome as well to the other salty fans of other Serie A clubs as well. You gotta say it. We gotta say it. That's part of what makes the Serie A enjoyable. It's not just us talking to ourselves and being insular. It's also making fun of Milanisti yesterday, our air conditioner cousins, for their loss on match day 1, and hopefully let's keep an eye out for Parma, Juve Parma. Oh, Pisa winning 1-0 against Atalanta. So hopefully Parma can also cause an upset. Let's see. Yes, Messi, has been a while. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, no, don't worry. Again, Paki, you should not feel any type of pressure to renew or become members in general. As I said, this is to reward current channel members. But I never ever pressure any of you guys to become channel members or buy the merch. That's all just there. If you like the look of the merch, or if you want to support the channel, that's all up to you. Appreciate just a thumbs up and subscribe. And my boy Matthias in the house, brate. How he's not ready. He is not ready, but don't worry. 1 hour before kickoff tomorrow, Mattia, I'm sure you'll be ready. You'll be ready tomorrow, bro. But thank you as always, Mattia, for being the channel mod, the one that controls, make sure that nothing dodgy goes on in the chat, and always supports me by reminding me to hit that like button, everyone. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll talk about that when we get to the predicted lineups. I'll make sure I'll start this comment from Ian on Aslani, because we were all predicting a goal from Aslani, but luckily, by the sounds of it, he's not going to be playing against us. I picked. Oh yeah, if you're playing fantasy football, Serie A fantasy this season, I'll give you one tip, guys. Don't trust Atalanta. It used to be under Gasperini. Like Gasperini always used to be like you look at the predicted lineups, and Gasperini would just like throw a spanner in the works. Looks like Juric is going to be the same. So I just try to avoid, even though I've got Jim City today, at least he's starting in my fantasy team. But I'm telling you, Atalanta, for some reason over the years, they've always let me down on fantasy football, because they just seem like they want to rotate just at the wrong time. Pato Ortega, saludo desde Mexico, nuevo seguidor aquí. So you are a new follower, from what I understand, Pato. Bienvenido, mi amigo. Bienvenido, papi. Pisa and Cremonese don't play La recently promoted team. Freaking Sassuolo. Yeah, Sassuolo yesterday just got walked over, but I'm not watching the Pisa game, but Cremonese played very well. I mean, they played like recently promoted team, but as I was saying in my preview, they've bought guys like Baschirotto, who was effing fantastic yesterday. Did you watch that performance from Baschirotto yesterday? That celebration as well. Iconic. But yeah, he pocketed Santi Jimenez. Oh yeah, speaking of Mexico, your boy Santi Jimenez, he is stinking out for Milan, and I'm sure you support him for your national team, but I'm sure you don't support him against Inter. But yeah, Baschirotto, that's a Serie A level centre back. Then they got Sanabria as well. He didn't even play yesterday. That's a Serie A level striker. They got Warren Bondo on loan. There's a few others as well. Let me just have a Pisa, on the other hand, though, I know they're winning right now, but Pisa's transfer window at the moment hasn't looked very good. But I like it. I like when these teams come up and show some fight and not just little walkovers like Sassuolo, which actually Sassuolo, I didn't even put them in my relegation candidates because I thought they're going to be pretty comfortable. If they're going to play like yesterday, they're going to be in trouble. I remember someone told me statistically when Inter wins first game of Serie A, they have a very high chance of winning the league. Hey, that is probably true. I probably don't need to double check that type of statistic. That makes sense. Last season, we drew, right? Did we lose or draw to Genoa? That's the first game last season. We were away at Genoa, and that was it's funny. First game of the season started with a Bisek handball, and the last game, the Lazio game, where basically Inter season ended, was with a Bisek handball. Let me see, what was it? The score last season. I feel like it was a draw, but it felt. I think I'm thinking of a loss because it felt like a loss, but I'm pretty sure it was a draw, right? Let me see if you guys got it in the comments. Yeah, we drew. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, definitely at home against Torino, regardless of if we're in a Bante era or not, we should be winning. My fancy team's already cooked. I had Immobile, Milinkovic, Savic on my team. Immobile, Immobile. Bernardeschi, those two Bologna signings for me are like contenders for potentially flops of the season, as in just bad. Not much so Immobile, but specifically Bernardeschi. Even Immobile, though, I'm not really convinced by him. So I'm not sure I would put them on my fancy team. And yeah, Milinkovic Savic, maybe he's going to be like the Champions League goalkeeper, maybe, because Conte might rotate the goalkeepers like that. Hey, Ian, hope you are doing well. You reached the Dutch version of Gasperini. Yeah, we already talked about Buchanan, Sandro. I picked Ian and he scored an own goal. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. Let's start previewing tomorrow's game. And the first thing I want to do, let's have a look at some training pictures from today. Today's is the last training session before yesterday. And as some funny people on Twitter would say, what the hell are you smiling about? What the hell are you smiling about? After last season, after that 5-0 loss, you have nothing to smile about. But yeah, now I'm glad to see that the guys are looking happy, energetic. Team chemistry seems to be good. Of course, we don't know nothing. We're not in the dressing room. We don't know what's going on, but at least there are more positive vibes than we were seeing at the end of the Club World Cup, right? Let's go through some pictures and I'll go through some quotes from Christian Chivu's press conference today. Nico Barella. He is now 28, right? How old is Barella? He is 28, or is he 27 still? He is 28. Wow. Man, that makes me feel old. Nico Barella's already 28. I feel old. When did he turn 28, man? I swear he was 22 when we signed him the other day, and he was 22. Still bolding. And he's still bolding, still not gone bold. He still hasn't embraced it fully. I thought he would have gone full Esteban Cambiasso by now, but he hasn't. But is this the season where Nico Barella puts it all together? And I'm not saying Calma, it's hard. Like with Nico Barella, fanboy sometimes is really there's two real extreme fanboys that we have in our fan base. It's Lautaro fanboys, if you criticize Lautaro, and Nico Barella fanboys. And I am a big Nico Barella fan. He's probably is my favorite player in this Inter team. But there's, we can't deny that last season, I feel like, especially the second half, whether it's due to fatigue, again, I'm not blaming him. There's circumstances, but we do need a big season from Nico Barella this year in terms of if he's going to play as a mezzala, we need a little bit more output from the brother. 3 goals, even if the bangers, it doesn't cut it. We need at least 5-6 goals and the usual 6, 7, 8 assists that he provides. And yeah, just a little bit more final product. It's not his job. I'm not expecting him to do 10 goals a season. I don't want him to, that's not his role. We don't need him to do that. But as, we rate him as a top 5 midfielder in the world, I feel like he needs to have those numbers as well. And yeah, I do feel like sometimes he is overprotected, but hopefully we protect his energy as well. We protect him. He has played a lot of football over the last few years for Italy, for Inter. He is almost never rested. I hope Chivu manages his energies a little bit better, because Conte definitely didn't. Conte got every single thing out of this boy's young body. At that time, he could do it because he was younger. Inzaghi continued squeezing everything out of his body. I just hope it doesn't all catch up to him now, because we've seen it with some footballers. Sometimes they, when they start playing so much football early, it catches up to them sometimes. So I hope that doesn't happen with Nico Barella. But I'm expecting a big season. And, last season, usually even the neutrals would put Barella is always in the conversation for team of the season or MVP. Last season, Reinders won the MVP. No, no arguments about that. But Barella was even in the conversation for most people for MVP or even like team of the season. Not really. Neither was Hakan. Neither was Miki, which shows the drop off that our midfield had last season. So hopefully, yeah, Barella can at least, I'm not saying he needs to be MVP, Serie A MVP midfielder, but at least be back in that conversation of regular performances and big games. I talked about it many times in my streams with you guys, post-match reactions. People would come here, or Aslani, or Arnautovic, or Correa, which, yes, they weren't good enough. They didn't perform. But in the big games, guys, who was starting in Serie A? Who was starting when we drew 4-4 to Juve, when we lost to Juve away, when we lost to all those Milan derbies? Barella was there getting dunked on by Reinders. Hakan was there. Mkhitaryan was there. the starters were all there when all those bad things were happening to us, when the performances weren't up to par, when Pulisic runs right through the middle of our defense, right in the first derby of the season. Acerbi was right there, Pavard was right there, Bastoni was right there, Hakan, Barella, like Pulisic ran past all those guys. So yes, we had crap performers in backup last season, but the level of performance from our world-class players wasn't world-class. Let's be real. Yeah, 100%. Pato. Ian says, might be a Swiss Army knife approach to Barella this season. I hope to expect him. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, because of the Juve signing, as I said, Ian, I thought we weren't going to sign a player like Juve. I thought we were going to sign a Aslani replacement. So, a profile for the CDM role, a backup regista. But the fact that we haven't, we've signed up a backup Mkhitaryan or a Mezzala by the sounds of it to me, or a double pivot if we change formation. That sounds to me, like you said, Ian, that maybe Barella, and we'll see in the predicted lineups, maybe Barella is now going back to being the backup regista, which I have never had an issue with. To me, I think, especially now that he's 28, I think in his 30s, my prediction has always been, if you followed me on this channel for 4-5 years, I've always said I think Barella eventually is going to become a CDM or regista, especially because his output and impact in the final third seems to be reducing rather than increasing. We thought there was that first Inzaghi season when he scored 6, 7, or even 8 goals, I think it was, that first Inzaghi season where he won, midfielder of the year and all that kind of stuff. We thought, oh wow, he's taken that step now where he's adding final product. But then now, last few seasons, he's kind of regressing in that side, and that lack of final output. And I quite like him actually when he plays deep as well. I think he does it, and I think he's always done it very well under Conte. I don't mind it. To be honest. And then the profiles, I think, like Sucic maybe could play it, but I actually would rather Sucic be attacking. And obviously, this Juve guy looks like he needs to be attacking, and Frattesi obviously needs to be in an attacking role. Zielinski is the only other one that we could say that, I still don't like him defensively, Zielinski, but he showed that, he can just play that role if needed. Nah. Okay, no, this is exaggeration now, Mo. This is exaggeration. Garbage for 2 or 3 seasons, that is crazy talk. I am not buying into that. He has been inconsistent in between seasons, but there's been moments like last season, the beginning of the season of Barella looked amazing. Like the first few months, I watched him live against Man City when we drew 0-0. He was the best midfielder on the pitch against Man City. He was lovely to watch. And a lot of games in that beginning of last season, he was good. In the Champions League, a few games like Bayern Munich, but it's just, there was clear drop-offs of performance from Barella. There was not that consistency, especially now that he's at 27, 28 years of age. Taremi maybe goes to PSV. Let's see. He is out of the squad at the moment, if you didn't know. Black Blue Legacy asks, do you think they will get a centre-back before the window closes? As I said, yes, maybe, but it's. I don't think it's the centre-back that we want to come in. It looks like it's going to be like a young centre-back profile that doesn't really, again, move the needle of the starters, which is not what we want. But I know what you mean, but he had a fantastic season, Josh. I know Milan were 8th. But it's Nico Paz, Como finished where did Como finish? 10th. Nico Paz was in the conversation as well. I don't think where the team finishes it really matters. And this is not the season MVP. This is because that was McTominay. Usually the actual league MVP is the winner of the Scudetto from the team that won the Scudetto. That was McTominay. But midfielder of the season, it doesn't. Like Barella's won it when Inter didn't win the Scudetto a few times. So I don't think that Reinders. I really, really liked Reinders. That was a player that I was unashamedly saying that I wish he was at Inter. Akinson Miro's on the pitch. Oh, Mike, come on. I thought he said he's on. But hopefully he comes on. You guys know I like Akinson Miro. Lautaro. I've said in my Serie A preview that I'm expecting him to be top scorer of Serie A again this season, or at least be competing for Capocannoniere, because last season he had 12 goals. I know he had a fantastic Champions League campaign, his best Champions League campaign until now, but he was stinking it up first few months. And again, I have to keep repeating myself because I said there's fanboys of Lautaro and Barella, because when you criticize them, it's like you got to be very careful. We know the excuses for Lautaro, and they're very good excuses, as in like there was a good reason why he was bad the first few months. He went to the Copa America with Argentina, had a fantastic campaign, top scorer of Copa America, won it, had a very short holiday, already had a long season because of that, had a short holiday, had to cut it even shorter because Taremi got injured in preseason before our first game. He flew back earlier than expected, didn't have a proper preseason. We threw him in, which maybe was a mistake straight away, and he was basically playing catch up first few weeks of the season. But this year, I'm happy that he had his big Champions League last year. This year, he can have 0 goals in Champions League for me. I need him to go back to being Serie A. And yeah, here with Lautaro, I'm talking about Serie A MVP or forward MVP. Like, I want those levels of Lautaro back. And again, with Lautaro, he's 27 now as well, right? Now there's no more with a lot. Oh, even Steve 28 as well. Bloody hell, everyone's turning 28. God's sake. I feel so old. These guys are all turning 28 now, which is, you always say the peak years of footballers or athletes, is this age 27, 28, they say, right? So yeah, this is the age of no excuse anymore for a lot of these guys, because this is supposed to be your peak years. You could say for strikers, sometimes they peak even slightly later, even like 29, 30, 31, because they start to, they really get their movement and their wiliness in the box. It gets to another level after all the experiences they had. But yeah, I want a real big season from Lauti. This team here again, team is looking energetic, is looking happy, looking harmonious atmosphere, I'm hoping. Boni, I think this guy is going to frustrate us this season, by the way, guys. I think he's going to show great hold-up play, great overall play, but I think this guy is going to have some stinking misses. He's going to miss some one-on-ones. He's going to fluff his shots here and there. But the Meazza crowd, please, San Siro crowd, please, if you're watching, guys, that go to the stadium, please be patient with Boni. He needs to refine his shooting, his finishing, and needs refining. Give him time. There will be moments where I think we're going to be like, wow, this guy literally can't shoot. Maybe he should be a midfielder. Like, if he's good at everything else, dribbling, hold up, passing, but he can't shoot, then he shouldn't be a striker. But give him some time. Hakan, as we said in my video, top 3 players under the most pressure at Inter. He is definitely one of them. It's Lautaro, it's Hakan, and Di Marco. Hakan last season had a drop-off, whether you in form for sure, but definitely primarily physically. It looked like his body couldn't keep up with the way that he likes to play. He's very all action. He likes to slide into tackles, go into duels. Very intense style of play since he converted to a CDM. But it seemed like his body couldn't handle it last season. Muscular injuries, little niggles, little knocks. And when he was playing as well, not to the same level that we know him, but still putting up, scoring goals from outside of the box. Pretty much the only guy that was doing that for us outside of Barella here and there. Set pieces, of course. But outside of that, it was a drop-off season. All the stuff off the pitch as well. Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, Saudi Arabia. Bro, Hakan, we need a bounce-back season. Now that you're staying, be fully committed, be ready. Again, this guy should be, always in the conversation for MVP, team of the season in Serie A, regardless of where Inter are. Indra will be satisfied. Boni scored 5-8 goals this season. Yeah, I mean, as long as I see it like this. Boni needs to replace Correa, and Pio is replacing Arnautovic. As long as they both outscore those two guys in terms of goals and assists, GA, I'm happy, because that means if we've improved. And of course, don't have any big misses that are like Arnautovic against Lazio, like just one of those famous misses that the fan base just can't forgive you, or those stinking performances where Correa would be booed off by the Meazza crowd. Just don't do that. Just have, of course, they're young players. They're gonna have they might have come on and have like a 4 out of 10 performance or a 5 out of 10 anonymous performance. That's fine. That's the growing pains of young players. But just outscore Correa, which was like 3 goals. So surely he can double that. Boni, as Indra says, 5 to 8 goals as a backup striker. That's pretty good. And Pio as well, who's, they're both probably not going to be starters. Both of them in that region. That's a pretty good return. They're probably, depending on the amount of minutes they get, but let's say Boni gets, I don't know, around 1,200 minutes. If you can average a GA every 120, 130 minutes, that would be fantastic. Just, impact whenever he plays. Big Pio suspended for this one. Oh, damn, I didn't know that. That's a shame. That would have been nice to get a little debut goal as a substitute. I was going to predict that. Yeah, it's weird that the Serie B suspensions carry over. Yeah, that is kind of weird. Saw a kid in Belfast City Centre with a full Inter kit, Hakan on the back. Had to give the lad the news about Inter Club Belfast and the Forza Inter on our way to the shot. Proud moments. Yeah. Hey, maybe, okay, we've had some embarrassments, guys, internationally around Europe. It's the last one, really. The other one wasn't an embarrassment. We just lost to Man City. But at least, we keep going in these further stages of the Champions League. So at least, hopefully, that is having an impact like this, Belfast, randomly a kid, full kit wanker, as we call it in the UK, with Hakan on his back. So he must be, either his dad or him, proper Inter fans. So yeah, shout out to Inter Club Belfast. If you are from that part of the world, make sure you check out Inter Club Belfast. Debbie Kerr and Ian Kerr. Ian Kerr is the presidente of that club. And of course, always check out your local Inter clubs. That's the best way that you can connect to your Interismo locally. yeah. He was inconsistent, but really good to watch. Reinders. Pio looks more ready than Pio is our biggest talent since Balotelli, and is our first Primavera that has come in like first game, and he's like literally that's what Balotelli did all those years back. We put him in the Coppa Italia game against Juve, and this guy scored 2 goals, didn't he? Is it 1 goal? I definitely remember scoring him 1 goal, but I think he might have scored 2 goals. Like, who does that? And he was 18 years old, if I remember at the time as well, even 17 maybe. But Pio, maybe, and by talent, he's not maybe the most technically talented, but as in like a young player coming through and just being ready for the first team. Pio is that since Balotelli. And it's not like he's got big competition, to be honest. Like, Combat Show says big words, but, there's not much competition really, because that is one thing that Inter, unfortunately, we haven't really been blessed with. You could say Zaniolo, but Zaniolo, we kind of like, I think we bought him literally the season before in Primavera. He had 1 season in Primavera with Inter, and then we sold him to Roma as part of the Nainggolan. But yeah, even account maybe Zaniolo was there, but he seemed like he had he kind of just exploded physically the year after he left Inter. Like, he was still skinny, like a skinny little guy when he was in Primavera, but then the year that he went to Roma, it's like puberty just like, hit him, and he just turned into an adult. So he was maybe he was kind of one of those, you could say. But apart from that, it really hasn't been like DiMarco. We've had to loan him out like so many years, and he came back at 24, age 24 when he eventually came back to be ready. So there's not really much competition in that. Santon as well, you could say, but even Santon, it was a very short-lived. So I feel like since Balotelli, really, as a striker as well. Bonucci, we never played Bonucci, so unfortunately we can't even say that. Bonucci just we never gave him a chance. He went to Bari, It was him and Ranocchio as a duo, but we never gave Bonucci a chance. So I'm talking about, like, guys that played for us. They were part of the squad. We gave him a chance. And yeah, Pio really is that guy since Balotelli. We've been starving since Balotelli. And the Italian, even like, not even just Inter, for the Italian national team, I really struggle to think of any young upcoming strikers. Like Chiesa kind of as a winger was exciting, but at the Euros he was already like 24, 25 at the Euros, wasn't he? When he really exploded. Like, I'm really struggling to think of someone that came through even for the Italian national team at a young age, and I'm talking about like sub 20, sub 21, and just like slotted in like it was nothing. Yeah. And I think Pio's got the potential to do that as well, because we're not, I mean, apart from Moise Keane, there's places up for grabs right now in that starting 11, or just behind the starting 11. It's easy for Pio Esposito to get to the World Cup squad, to be honest. Scamacca is back after his ACL, but that's after, post ACL, you know how hard that is. So we'll see. But the thing I love about Pio as well, he's like mentally, like we've seen it with Seba Esposito. He is technically very talented, more talented than Pio for sure. Seba is very, very fantastically talented technically, but mentally he just doesn't seem like he was there. Until now, he seemed like he sorted himself out now. But Pio already, even though he's the youngest out of Salvatore and Sebastiano, Pio's the youngest one, but he actually behaves like he's the most mature and the oldest out of the three. He just looks like he's ready for this level. Hey, Simi, hope you're doing well, bro. Of course, guys, check out the Inter Extra podcast if you haven't. And thank you, Mattia, as usual, for reminding the viewers. Yeah, Seba is at Cagliari. Ooh, if I had to get a jersey of an Inter player this season, who would it be? Hey, funny, because I had this picture up. Because of what he did last season, it might have to be Brick Freeze, and I might have to actually get it like customized with Brick Freeze on it rather than Thumb Freeze, just because, that's the name I like to call him. But last season he was, the MVP, especially the second half season. He was the MVP. So Dumfries are right up there, but yeah, probably Barella 23. Barella 23 is just aesthetically as well. That's a lovely kit. Fratte is back from his injury, so maybe he'll get some substitute minutes. Who else? Taram 9. That would be a good kit, I guess. But I'm just not a person. I don't get names on the back of kits. Like the only name I have at the moment is R9, Ronaldo 9, an old retro kit that I have. But the other one I need to get a Zanetti, a Javier Zanetti number 4 kit. That's the only real. I would only get legendary or past players, to be honest, because I just don't trust modern football, modern players to stay enough time or to betray us or to not betray us. Dimash as well, as we said, of course, one of the players that we need to bounce back from. He was actually MVP level first half of the season last season, Di Marco, and then completely fell off the face of the earth with his performances. So we need a more. I would take a more consistent season from Di Marco. I don't need him to be at the level he was at like the first half of the season and fall off if his body can't handle it. I'd rather him just have a nice steady season throughout the season, if you know what I mean. Because the fall off in the second half last season was kind of embarrassing, to be honest. Oh yeah, of course, Kim Min-jae to Inter would be like we need one of these signings. I don't understand how like these investment firms are always talking about money, marketing. Like it's so easy when like to like get your name out there in the Asian market. You literally need like an upcoming, and they're all talented as well. And it's not just for marketing. There's plenty of talented players that are coming out of the Japan. Those players so technically well trained, very tactically disciplined, and well educated on that. Japanese players, South Koreans, like it's such an easy way to tap into that market for exposure and everything. I'm so surprised that we never did it. And even bloody Eric Tohir, the Indonesian guy, he had the opportunity. He could have bought Raja Nainggolan when he was actually good, before he, his alcoholism and smoking caught up to him at the age of 24, 25, when he was, proper good. You should have bought him instead of Hernandez. Like, that was the move for the Indo market. Like, we could have dominated the Indonesian market with the Nainggolan, but bloody Eric Tohir had to go for Hernandez instead. Yeah, 100%. I think that's the role for Pio in the coming season as a super sub for the moment. But as I've said, I think Robert Reviewtech is a Korean. Annyeonghaseyo. I think that is the role for Pio Sports, super sub. But Thuram, I think needs to watch out for his starting spot, both from Boni and Pio, because those two are coming in hot. They come in hungry. That youthful exuberance and hunger. Thuram needs to watch out for his starting spot. But at the moment, they're super subs, both of them. And then let's see. I want to see how Chivu rotates, because remember last season in the Champions League, very heavy rotation. It would be Taremi used to pretty much start every single game in the Champions League group stage. Arnautovic started some of them as well. There was heavy rotation, quite rightly, in the Champions League, and it worked. Frattesi would start the Champions League games. We would see Bisek start Champions League games. Augusto, De Vrij instead of Acerbi. I think that's how Chivu should play again. So let's see how he plays it. I see Pio fitting more the Serie A style of play for now. I feel like Boni would suit the European football more. Like, so, we play. I think Pio suits the Serie A type of game more. With the closed defenses, Pio can be that fox in the box with the closed defenses. Teams that are camping, deep in their box, and Pio's there to, fox in the box, ready to mop up any opportunities. And Boni, where the games are more open in Europe, the teams are pressing higher lines of defenses, and we can try to exploit them. So I can see that. But let's see how maybe that's what the formation change could be. Maybe in Europe, Chivu might try to change the formation to the 3-4-2-1 and then keep it to the 3-5-2 in Italy. So let's see. I'm very interested to see how Chivu does it in Europe. Yeah, Zielinski as well. Zielinski started a lot of the Champions League games, and actually he had the best game Zielinski had was the RB Leipzig game, if you guys remember, one man of the match. I remember him holding the little Champions League man of the match trophy. It gave me like hope for the rest of the season, but Zielinski never really continued that. I don't think the thing with Zielinski is he was never bad. I don't think he was ever bad in any game. He just kind of like he always gave like a 6 out of 10 or 6.5 max, which doesn't move the needle. It doesn't make him. He never convinced Inzaghi to basically, bench Mkhitaryan. But yeah, let's get into Chivu's quotes from today. Big words. And again, Chivu, we are all behind you. Like the day that we signed Chivu, I was not convinced. I was quite shocked that we signed Chivu, but from the beginning I've said, I will back this guy. This guy jumped in a difficult situation. So much respect for Christian Chivu. This takes big cojones what Christian Chivu did. He could have, maybe should have stayed at Parma one more season, but Inter came calling and he took the opportunity, and I'm going to back him. And to be honest, up until now, of course, as I said, we've got 1 week to go to the end of the Mercato, but they haven't really backed him properly. They've only brought in young players, and all these young players are for the bench. Maybe they improve the bench at the moment, so that is a positive, but they haven't pushed the starting 11 for Chivu. So, it's going to be a difficult season for Christian Chivu. I still would say he's a rookie because he only had 12 games in Serie A. I know you can say he played, he had 4 or 5 years as a youth team coach, but that's almost a different sport, guys. Youth team coaching is pretty much a different sport. He's a rookie. But Who knows? Hopium. I see a lot of Interisti saying, you never know. He could be a Pep. He could be a Zidane. I know, but we've seen it in Serie A with a lot of rookie coaches. Milan, a perfect example when they hired Filippo Inzaghi as the coach, as a rookie. Gattuso, Seedorf, Brocchi, all these guys, like very, very inexperienced guys that they hired in their Banter era. Is different because the teams weren't good at the time either, but I see them more as an example rather than you pointing to Pep Guardiola coming into having, the greatest generation, the Spanish generation ever assembled, plus Messi on his hands, and Zidane having the Avengers of Bale, Cristiano, and Benzema at his disposal with Modric, Casemiro, and Kroos. Chivu has a fantastic team. I still think this is still the best team in Serie A in terms of starting 11, but it's all about how these guys are how motivated are they, because last year we saw these guys were playing at 70-80% in Serie A. They were putting their 110% in Champions League, not in Serie A. So they clearly had their priorities. And as we were trying to say throughout the season, we felt like they were wrong priorities. There was a camp of UCL and camp of Serie A focus. I was in the Serie A focus camp. And at the end, we got nothing because they prioritized maybe the wrong thing, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, let's get through some of the key topics covered in Chivu's press conference. Yeah, Eduardo, you can be confident, but I feel like to back up your confidence isn't backed up by what Chivu has done at Parma. Like, it can't be backed up by those few weeks. And I know that you didn't watch Parma that much as well. So your confidence comes from how Chivu has approached this, which is fantastic. Like the way he speaks, the way he's handled everything since he's come in. But it's very much hope, Eduardo, for sure. So let's see how it works out. So they asked him, how satisfied are you with preseason? What kind of Inter do you expect against Torino? He says, we worked well over these 4 weeks. It was a short, and you got to remember that, guys. We will be talking about this in post-match reactions in these next few weeks because it's important. This was a very short but intense preseason. No, it's never happened before. Usually teams have preseasons that are 6-7 weeks long. We had a 4-week preseason with only 4 games. But at least we didn't have no major injuries. As he says here, we didn't face too many difficulties. The team trained hard. Players gave their all. We did some things well, others less so. We're still a work in progress, and we want to keep improving both individually and collectively. We're ready to begin, and we can't wait. And then they asked him, about the Admiral Lukman thing. It seems like you went from Lukman, and now he ended up signing a midfielder in Diouf. Is that part of the plan? He says, our approach was targeted. We had some specific names in mind, but some of the clubs we negotiated with considered those players untouchable. So obviously talking about Atalanta with Lukman, just as we did with our own. So, there's been rumors that Chelsea came calling for Bastoni, or I'm sure, other big players. There was interest that we didn't know about, but I'm sure there's always, clubs approaching our players. And every club has a right to make the decisions. We strayed true to our vision and followed. And this is obviously one thing we can definitely say is, they were claiming that they want to rejuvenate the squad. We can't say they didn't. Yeah, we can say the starting 11 hasn't been rejuvenated, but the youth-focused strategy definitely happened this summer. All the signings are all under 23, and we've started an under 23 team as well. So that was true. And here, I don't know if he believes this or not, but he says we are bringing in players who are both talented and ready to play for Inter. So, yeah, is this him being a yes man, or does he actually believe Diouf, Boni, Sucic are all ready for Inter? Then they asked him about Lele Oriali, of course, the Inter legend, but now famous collaborator with Conte, who is at Napoli with Conte right now. And he said Inter are favourites. After all that spending that Napoli have done, and Napoli being the Scudetto holders, he said Inter are favourites. And here, this is already something different from Inzaghi. Chivu was replying, not saying that, oh, I don't really read what's going on, blah, 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 and tries to avoid it. He says, I think the champion always starts as favourites. Lele Oriali is a friend, but with the money Napoli spent and the squad they already had last season, I believe they're also among the favourites. So, at least he's giving it back to people in the media. Of course, they asked him about, elements of the trouble winning side. He said, you need to have managed the good moments, but also the difficult one, blah, blah, blah. They asked him about, the transfer window being open whilst the league is still, is ongoing. Of course, he said, he would, coaches always want this to happen, but UEFA and FIFA have the rules. Is there anything in particular you're worried about heading into the start of the season? I'm not afraid to take step. Everybody, come take mine. We've trained well, worked hard. We can't control everything that happens in the match, blah, blah, blah. Forgetting the past, focusing on the present. This is something big, Chivu is going to have to be, or probably has been this summer, maybe a bit of a psychologist to try help these players forget the trauma of last year. And that's something as well that maybe we're going to have to keep mentioning in our post-match reactions, right, guys? The trauma from last year. We're going to be like the ghosts of last season. Is it still there? Are these guys still seeing the ghosts of last season? You always try to give your best every day, every week. Mentality is the key. When you have motivation and clear goals, you know the steps that you need to take. That's why the first game is always the most important one. Oh yeah, there was a funny moment here. So the guy basically said something about it being a historic debut. And if you translate it, like Chivu said, mi sto toccando, which means I'm touching myself, but it means like it doesn't translate well in English. It's Italians being super superstitious, and of course Chivu's now. I don't know if Romanians are the same, but Italians, when someone says something and you feel like he's trying to jinx you, you touch your family jewels. It's like a superstitious thing that Italians do. So he said that whilst they were asking him about him winning on his debut, or being like a foreign coach that wins on his debut, which was funny. Let me get back to some of your comments, see if I've missed anything. About negativity FC. The thing is, we need to be patient with Kiwi. Yeah, 100%. No, we have to be. But the thing is, Ian, we have to be patient, but we have standards as well. Like, as I said, the squad, yes, I'm not happy with the transfer window. Yes, I feel like he hasn't been fully backed properly, but the squad is still really strong, Ian. And if he plays his cards right, I think we still should be, competing for the Scudetto quite easily. Top four is a minimum for sure. Like top four is unnegotiable. Like if we're struggling to get into top four, then Chivu already, something's not right. If we're in top four, we're seeing good signs. I'm willing to kind of accept that as a transitional season. But that's the thing, Ian. Like, okay, we've got a rookie coach. So I can understand that they've not made the changes to the starting 11. So they said we're doing a big, massive surprise or risky decision with the coach. So that's super risky. But they've been super safe with the squad. And now, as we said, Barella's 28, Lautaro's 28, Bastoni's 26, 27. Like this is a super experienced squad, the same squad that we've had basically for the last few years. Surely that balances it out. The stability in that squad. So I still expect us to be competing for the Scudetto, regardless of who our manager is. But yeah, we are gonna I know it sounds counterintuitive. It sounds like I'm contradicting myself. that, you know, we got to be patient with him, but then we got to be competing for the Scudetto. It depends. We're seeing, like, you know, if with the team's playing well, but they're missing chances, like, you know, it happened a lot under Inzaghi, then we can say, like, you know, what more can Kivu do? Like, they're creating chances, they're playing well, they're just, you know, fluffing their lines, or they're making mistakes. There's not much Kivu can do at the end of the day, like Inzaghi. That's fine. But if we're like struggling to create chances, or we're like stupidly open at the back, or we're leaking goals stupidly, and we're out of the top four, we're way far away from the title race, then that's a big sign of concern. And yeah, probably the predictions, pre-match predictions are probably going to be a bit humble this season. Last season, we're, you know, predicting wins, or last few seasons really always predicting wins, really, right? Unless, apart from the big games, we're always pretty much predicting wins. And here, of course, the question that you guys and all of us are interested in: are you expecting more signings? We are fully aligned with the club. This is definitely a very, you know, yes man answer at the moment. We share the same vision. I'm happy with what we have. Even during our time in US, we talked about investing in young players who can increase the value of the squad. We aim for quality and players who are always ready to contribute. But at the same time, we know that young players require patience. That said, integrating them is easier when they're surrounded by experienced teammates, true, with support from the coaching staff and the club that gives them everything they need. That is the perfect environment to help talented players grow. Ugh. I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the sound of that. And then they asked him, what are you expecting from Torino? Torino have invested well. They've changed their coach. The structure of the team remains the same. New manager brings a bit of unknown, just like us in terms of playing principles. I respect Baroni a lot for what he's done in the past. Torino will give everything. We'll look at the predicted lineups in a minute. This was the question, the one where he got superstitious. The last non-Italian coach to win his Serie A debut was Cooper. So not even Mourinho won his debut as a non-Italian coach. How would you describe yourself? Do you feel like an Italian coach? This was a very interesting answer. You know, he arrived in Italy in 2003, spent my prime as a player here, but I never forgot my early years in the modern game, like at Ajax, you know, the forward thinking, total football culture. Football has 1,000 nuances, takes sensitivity to know what to do and what to avoid in so-called modern football. People admire what's done abroad, but they also appreciate what's done here. There's no one right method. There are principles, and it's up to the coach to judge how far they can push. Coaching is an art. Hey, lovely quote there. You need a bit of everything. Some people will say I lack experience, but the experience I've had in life helps me see football differently. Here, we're a bit obsessed with the results. There's little time to develop ideas. Time, club maturity, the coach and all the players need to be aligned to bring a vision forward. At Inter, rightly or wrongly, there is no time. You have to start strong, because the goal is always to improve and go all the way. And there you go. You know, we said, you know, we're going to be patient, but it's Inter. He knows. He played for Inter. He played for Roma. He played for Ajax. All big teams. He knows the pressures. And it's a great answer. You know, this is the thing. I'm looking forward to finding out what type of coach Chivu is. You know, this guy, school of Ajax, but also Roma and the Capello. You know, proper old school Italian way of thinking. But then also Mourinho. You know, he's had some big coaches over his career. So in terms of coaching tree, I'm very interested to see like where this guy falls into, because his Parma team was very, you know, low block, defensive, counterattack, but that was because it's Parma and that's what it needs to do. He's come to Inter and he's talking about high line, high pressing, all this kind of stuff. But in the last preseason game, we saw that maybe he might be had to revisit those ideas. So let's see. I'm interested to see what his approach is. The Parma coach is 29 years old. It's crazy, right? But it's also really good that we're seeing this change in Serie A happening as well now. There's a shift in mentality happening slowly. And then finally, they asked him about, you know, what led to the club's change in transfer approach. So first, he was going for a striker, you know, Lookman type. What happened? And he said, I want quality over quantity, not the other way around. We had identified a very high level player, Lookman, but we didn't sign him, and it wasn't our fault. We brought in others who can raise the competitive level. Yeah, as I said, Chivu speaks very well. I'm very happy with his press conferences and how he speaks, but again, that means nothing at the end of the day. We need to see results on the pitch. But yeah, full support from me, full FC Chivu here. Yeah, of course, we really, really hope to see Chivu succeed. Yeah, we were talking about Eduardo Buchanan's hat trick earlier today. Crazy, but happy for him. Yeah, looking forward to see Bastoni, one of the best centre backs in the world, top 3 centre back in the world, in my opinion. Now I can say that confidently. Now, like last season, that was again the one player that I can full confidently say was MVP level consistently. Took a step forward defensively as well. Like now, I'm happy to say he's a complete defender. Zielinski, is he going to make an impact this season? Let's see. Thomas Palacios is still here. Funny, Taremi is not part of the squad, Serie A squad at the moment, because they're waiting to sell him. But Thomas Palacios is. Luis Enrique, is he going to be the flop that everyone's predicting him to be, or majority of the fan base is already calling him Dalbert, or is he going to be better? Let's give him some time. Frattesi, of course, is Chivu seems to be a big fan of his. What type of role is he going to have behind the striker? Or is he going to be a Mezzala again? Let's see. Thuram, we need a full consistent season from him as well. He kind of fell off after January. Dumfries hopefully can continue his fantastic season. Sucic, I'm very excited about Sucic. Yeah, Pio and Sucic, I think the 2 players I'm most excited about this season. As in like the young, new players in the team. Really, really look forward to see Sucic. Yeah, no. Let's get into the predicted lineups for tomorrow, guys, and close this live stream preview up. Thank you for being here. 77 people, guys. Make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's have a look at what we got. How do I get rid of this video? Oh, no. There you go. Right, let's get into it. Oh, and there it is, the exact same lineup as last season. What a shock. Apart from Petar Sucic, obviously. Oh, these annoying ass pop-ups. But yeah, looks like no shock, right, guys? We've been talking about it. All this talk about mini revolution, all this talk about squad rejuvenation, and we have exactly the same lineup that we had last season, apart from Petar Sucic coming in for Hakan because he's suspended. And at the moment, as per Sky Sport Italia, we'll see. By the way, keep a lookout in terms of which predicted lineups will be most accurate this season. Last season, it definitely was Sky Sport Italia. So I'll stick with them at the moment. They are saying that Barella is going to be the regista tomorrow, which I'm happy about, as you guys know. Sucic, we can continue testing him out in the future in that role, but his long legs, running ability, ball carrying ability, creativity, goal threat, I feel like he would be wasted at this moment in his time, in his career, in that role. Yeah, Barella regista season, I'm not too mad about it. I'll be real. And of course, Mkhitaryan, everyone's favorite geriatric OAP starting. I need to create the meme, the hand on shoulder meme. All the guys that thought Mkhitaryan was going out at the starting 11 this season, all the guys that thought Sucic was coming to take over from him, all the guys that thought maybe Diouf was going to start on match day 1. Hand on your shoulder, buddy. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Mkhitaryan is undefeated, regardless of what coach is at Inter. And he's looked good in preseason. I'll be real. I've not had many complaints about Mickey. But again, similar to Barella, like just because Mkhitaryan is 36 doesn't mean the standards for this guy can't have, with the amount of goal scoring chances he gets, the positions he picks up, he needs to be scoring more goals in the team. He needs to stop skying opportunities. This guy used to score 10, 15 plus goals at Dortmund. He used to put up 20 plus GA at Dortmund and Roma. and somehow now he's just completely forgot how to shoot. So again, there's not double standards with any player, whether you costed $0 like Mkhitaryan did, or you costed 50 like Barella did. If you're a starter or if you're a substitute at Inter, the standards remain high. So Mkhitaryan needs to step up. Di Marco, we already said. Yeah. Any changes? What changes would you guys make to the starting 11, guys? Who would you start tomorrow? Tell me that. Would you put Sucic at Regista? Who would you put at Regista? Let me know in the comments down below. What would be your starting 11? I am happy with the starting 11, as much as I just now made fun of it being the exact same starting lineup, as in for what we got, because Zielinski isn't fully fit yet. Luis Enrique is definitely not starting material yet. He needs to some time to integrate. Boni is definitely not starter yet. Oh God, why they still got Aslani in here? They need to get rid of that. And yeah, I still feel like Pavard is a starter over Bisek for the moment. So yeah, Zielinski instead of Mickey at least. Yeah, but yeah, as I said, Zielinski was pretty much missed all of preseason. So if it was, preseason, both of them had a full preseason, maybe I would have agreed with you, Eduardo, but he's missed pretty much all of preseason, Zielinski. So I would not put him in starting the first game. Andy over Mickey, yeah, no, definitely not. Andy Juve is going to need some work first, to get accustomed to the Serie way of playing, the tactics and everything, with the new system. I'm happy with this starting 11. Pio can't play, Salim. Pio is as Ian Kerr let us know, he's actually suspended. So since he's carrying over a Serie B suspension, which I didn't even know was a thing. So in terms of available players, I mean, that's one thing I would have done. Maybe like a surprise start up front, like give Marcus Thuram like early on in the season, like, bro, your starting spot is not guaranteed in this team. Like, boom, put in Pio Esposito game day one. Big shock to the system for everyone. That's something I would have done. Obviously, if we bloody signed a young centre back like a Leone, I would have put him in like boom over a Cherby, start there. But obviously, we didn't do that, unfortunately. I'm happy with this. As Ian says, it is what it is. Fratesi he's only just come back to full training, so he's definitely not part of the conversation. And Sucic didn't look comfortable there yet in preseason against Mons, I think it was. So have a quick look at the Torino starting 11. 4-3-3 according to this. Usually, the last few years they've been playing a lot of 3-5-2. But it looks like now they're going to switch to a 4-3-3 under Baroni, who is a decent coach, we know from his time at Hellas Verona and Lazio. I mean, they're just, you know how it is with Lotito. They started off well, Lazio under Baroni, but then they really dropped off last season, Indro. And I think they just had, it's hard to get on with Lotito as a president. But I think, I don't really see Baroni being that high level of a coach. I think he's more like a mid-table manager by the looks of it. But decent team. Biragi, of course, a former Inter player, so we can expect him to ball out against us. New goalkeeper, Israel. We know this guy, Maripan, can be a very big weak point of the Torino backline, especially if they're playing four at the back. Pedersen as well, not that great defensively. Angerin, need to watch out for his athleticism. He's very good on the ball carrying. Cesare Casadei, of course, former Inter youth product. He is a Fratesi type of profile, so got to watch out for his runs into the box. Ngonj on loan from Napoli. Che Adams up front and Nikola Vlasic. And on the bench, they have Giovanni Simeone, who finally found his level. I have won the Giovanni Simeone arguments, all those guys, all those years, especially Nima, telling me that this guy should have been signed by Inter. He's this type of level. Like, nah, this is Giovanni Simeone's level. Finally, I win the argument after all these years. But you've got to watch out for him as a substitute for sure, though. He can always make an impact. Duvan Zapata's back from his... Remember, guys, last season, Duvan Zapata got his ACL injury against us, which was so sad. He was balling out against us, and he got his ACL injury. But he's back on the bench for them. We got to watch out for them. Lautaro as well, former Inter player. Ilic somehow is still there, but he's never really made the step up that I expected him to. So talented, lovely left-footed midfielder, but it just doesn't seem to make the next step. Abu Kalal as well looks like a very talented winger to watch out for as a substitute. And I don't know what's happened to Pes Guz, this centre back. I was always looking out for him as a potential, centre back option for Inter, but he got his ACL like 2 seasons ago. And it looks like he just never has recovered from that. Crazy. Same old team, but I feel like there's quite a few changes coming in. Andrin, Ngonj, these are new goalkeeper. There's a few new subs, but I know what you mean. Like with Torino, it always feel like they're gonna have the same exact season, right? They're gonna be like 10th, 11th. That's the typical Torino season. That's where they finish. But anyway, let's get into. I'll give my full predictions, Nick Knox, at the end when we actually finish the Mercato. But as I said, at the moment, I don't see us finishing outside of top 4. I've seen a lot of other Serie A content creators that are saying Inter might even drop out of top 4. But even if you don't rate Chivu, with this squad, I feel like this squad on autopilot should be able to just get top 4. That's how good the squad is in theory. And Aslani, as we said from the beginning when I started, Ian Kerr's comment, he actually hasn't been registered yet from Torino, or Inter actually delayed something. Like it's been for once Inter playing good games, like delaying the registration, so Torino actually can't register him in time to play him in this game, because otherwise that was pretty much a guaranteed goal of the X from Aslani, a banger from 30 yards. Eduardo believes in the Scudetto, so if you look into some positivity, Eduardo is your man. You shouldn't, like, game day 1 performance doesn't matter. Like, let's not forget, guys, last season Napoli lost their first game of the season. It was like 3-0, I think it was. Hellas Verona smashed them 3-0, and then they won the Scudetto. So even if we lose tomorrow, guys, it's not the end of the world. Or if we win 5-0 tomorrow, it's not winning the Scudetto. Let's take it game by game, see how things go. Let's finish this Mercato, and then we can, be more informed in our decision. But what is your prediction for this game tomorrow? First prediction of the season. I think I'm going to concede a goal. I think Casadei or someone's going to score a scrappy goal at some point. But I feel like Christian Chivu's reign is going to start off positively with a win. He's going to be the first non-Italian coach since Hector Cooper to win his first game at Inter. I'm going for, as Matteo says, a 2-1 win. I'm going for a Lautaro goal and a Dumfries goal. That's my prediction. And as I said, maybe like a Casadei or just, I don't know, one of their guys scoring one scrappy little goal somewhere. And Gonj. Tambir says 2-0. 100%. Hopefully Chivu has fixed the defense that has been conceding first in pre-season and Club World Cup. Black Blue Legacy says 3-1. That would be a lovely start. Eduardo says 2-0. 2-0 would be fantastic. 2 and a clean sheet. Fantastic way. 2-0 or 2-1. 3-2, our firepower is better than this. Yeah, for sure. I know the beat and losses and season side. I just want to troll. Yeah, of course. No, of course. Continue with the trolling. I'm going to troll all season for sure. I'll make my, there also will be, I'll try to be making Serie A content in general. Well, I'll try to be, unbiased and be impartial. But come on, guys. Keep the energy up. We got to be trolling this season. Nick Knox says 1-1. Negativity FC in the house. Pop says 2-0. Lum says 3-0. Behind DiMarco's back. Oh God, I don't want to have that screenshot. I don't want to be talking about a screenshot with DiMarco with his back to the defender like this. It's like, or DiMarco letting in a cross at the far post, or Bisek coming on. If Bisek comes on and he gives a handball penalty, that's it. I'm not watching this season. I'll say it right now, because if this season starts like how last season started and ended, that's just a clear omen that just wrap it up already. And if DiMarco is up to his usual antics as well, it's like, here we go again. Ah, shit. Here we go again. Lautaro brace, that would be fantastic way to start the season for Lautaro. One of our debutants to score. Yeah, Pio can't play Bobby Marley, but I would have predicted, if Pio was available, I would have predicted a goal from him, but he is unavailable due to suspension. Hello, Brate from Serbia. Hey, Mattia, there's another Serbian brother for you. Zdravo. 3-1 if Pio wasn't suspended. 3-0 might be 4. 2-1, Daniel says, with the goal in the last 10 minutes. Hey, giving us already a headache and a heart attack in the first game. Come on, Unc, let's go with a convincing result. 4-1, they get a pen. That would be great. Is Luka Topalovic promoted from the academy? No, he isn't part of the under-23 team. But they might call up some of these guys to make up the squad sometimes. But as far as I know, he's part of the under-23 team full-time. DiMarco against this mid-table team will cook. Just watch and assist teammate score. Yeah, no, that's the thing with DiMarco. Even if he has a bad game, usually his left foot usually creates something. It's just that, defensively he's been letting us down. Okay. Anyway, guys, let me just check the Juve score before I go. So, they're winning 1-0. Damn it. No, we have to win. We can't let Jonathan David as well. Yeah, you guys know my prediction. I think he is a fantastic signing for them, unfortunately. Jonathan David. But yeah. Ciao ragazzi, thank you for tuning in. First prediction and first reaction of the season, or pre-match reaction of the season. As I said, my announcement is these pre-match previews are going to be member only from now on, just because I want to reward members. But post-match streams are going to be normal as usual. Ciao ragazzi, always, Forza Inter. See you tomorrow for the post-match reaction.